Alright, how's it going? Welcome to Ultimate Fight Clan. I saw a new film the other day called Vital Signs starring Louis Koo at the London East Asia Film Festival. The banner for it said Vital Signs. The massive light up poster outside said Vital Signs, but the title on the opening of the actual film is Vital Sign, not Signs. Generally, I like Louis Koo films. He's usually pretty reliable, but this one got me out of bed because he was going to be attending. Simply put, if he can come all the way from Hong Kong, then surely I can go and see him at Leicester Square, so I did. There's no action or congas in this film, but that's fine. I wasn't expecting any, as it's not an action film. It's a character drama about the life of a paramedic and any surrounding acquaintances. There's not that much ambulance paramedic stuff to speak of though, and even the last big rescue scene where there was an opportunity to go all out is unfortunately pretty uneventful. As I said though, it's a drama about relationships, the main one being a father-daughter relationship between single dad Louis Koo and his daughter. We're off to a good start then, as I tend to like emotional stuff like that. Louis is torn between keeping his young daughter in Hong Kong or emigrating to Canada with her where his parents and her grandparents live. I was picking up on possibly a political vibe, maybe depicting what it's like in Hong Kong now, as the parents were saying stuff like there's nothing left for them there anymore, hinting that it's changed a lot in recent times and it's not a good place to raise a child anymore, so a lot of people are emigrating. This subject or message, I'd say, was a fairly big part of the film. Now, to back that up, there was a talk afterwards, and Louis Koo said that as well as entertainment, we also get information from films. So lately, he has been focusing on social issues, and he wants to talk about them in films, and he would like to deliver and represent these complex and intricate issues. He goes on to say that filmmakers need to bear social responsibility. So there you go. Social issues are covered in this film, and it was by design. Back to the story, he likes his job as a paramedic, but because of his age and back injury that he's struggling with, he can't emigrate, but his daughter can, which leaves him with a tough decision to make. Do they both stay in Hong Kong, or does he send her without him to Canada to live with her grandparents with the hope of a better life? A young upstart joins the team, doing everything by the book and getting on his nerves and going for all the promotions, whereas Louis Koo, he's older and more experienced, and he breaks protocol if it means saving lives over abiding by rules. So while the two clash at first, the new young kid, although brash and ambitious, he's looking for someone to aspire to and respect because he didn't get that from his own father. So after a while, he learns from Louis and starts to come round to his ways. The young man starts to open up more when he gets into a relationship, and the film does a good job of building all of this up. So there are some decent emotional bits, but considering that this is the film's strength, there's just not enough of it. The problem is, the film creates all these relationships and spends all this time getting you invested in the characters, but they culminate into nothing. We never really get to find out what any of it comes to, as the film it just ends. Now, does the youngster end up seeing Louis as a father figure and someone to look up to? Does the youngster actually get together with the young lady? Does Louis send his child to Canada? Does Louis have a successful back operation and stay as a paramedic in Hong Kong? These are all the questions that build up over the duration of the film, and yet none of them get answered as the film just finishes. There's basically no ending. But don't leave it up to me to decide what happened. This is not my story. I didn't agree to tell it. The filmmakers did, so tell it. It feels like they ran out of time, so just played the end credits. It turns out to not be a very entertaining ambulance paramedic film with loads of tense medical scenes, and not a very good drama film either, as we get left in the dark about everything. It ends up not really fully achieving anything on either front. I felt it either needed more cries emotional drama scenes or more tense medical emergency scenes, but for me, it was too little of both things. That's a shame really, as I was enjoying it, but it could have been a lot better had we seen the outcomes to everything. That's what we've been watching, that's what we were waiting for. The no ending, it really let it down. Now don't get me wrong, I didn't hate this film, it was alright, but there wasn't much to really like about it either. They weren't just me, the person next to me said they didn't like the ending either. Now they didn't have to say this to me, they were a complete stranger. and they spoke to me about the film, and the real negative for them was the lack of an ending. And I agree. This person was much younger than me, and they said that they liked Asian films, but this was the first one they had seen starring Louis Koo. Now I wonder what their first impression of Louis Koo is now. Will they continue to watch his films like I do? They seemed very lukewarm on the film, but had that first Louis Koo experience been, say, something like the film Connected, for example, I'm sure that would have left a more lasting impression. So saying that, I asked the question, who are they making these new Hong Kong films for? Old fans like me? New audiences? Everyone? Anyone? Themselves? Who knows? I don't feel like it's made for old fans like me, people like me that have been watching these films for years and buying and watching Louis Koo films. I can't say why the rest of the people were in that cinema, but I know why I was there. I can say that I have been watching Hong Kong films for years. I can say that I have bought and watched a fair few films with Louis Koo, including now this brand new one, Vital Sign. Here's some examples for you. Louis Koo film, Throwdown. Louis Koo film. Louis Koo film. Louis Koo film. Another one, Louis Koo. Yen and Koo. Louis Koo film. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Election. Brilliant. Another one. Olden with Andy Lau. Louis Koo and Chan and Baby. Hang on before they all fall over the place. And another one. There you go. Overheard. Brilliant. So that's just some examples of what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, I don't feel like that this film was made for loyal fans like me. So who exactly are they trying to please? Because we know that with pretty much anything, it is difficult to please everyone. So it always makes me wonder, is it because they think that no matter what, someone like me will always support and show up regardless because I'm into it? Is it because they have already made a load of films that I like, so I'm already catered for? Well, I don't know. As I said, after the screening, there was a talk with the star of the film, Louis Koo, and Korean producer Han Jae-Duk from Sanai Pictures. The gentleman who was hosting the chat, he was good. He was professional and added a bit of light humour at times, but unfortunately I didn't catch his name, so I apologise for that. Now, this talk was pitched as the Hong Kong-Korea film dialogue between the legends of film noir. Now, thank you to the organisers for arranging this, as Koo in attendance did seal the deal for me. However, there was no Q&A, so there was no opportunity for people in attendance to ask questions, and there was also no chance for a meet and greet, as it was just them chatting on stage and then leaving. So the big bag of films I had with me to get signed, they never saw the light of day. Oh, that's a shame, and never mind. It was still good to see and hear from them both, and it did make the whole thing more interesting and worthwhile. So it was good. This was my first experience of the Korean producer Han Jae-Duk, and I have to say he was good and did brilliant chats. A very thoughtful, charismatic and memorable bloke. Now, I might have to check out his films, as he is heavily influenced by Hong Kong cinema, citing Johnny To and his company Milky Way as inspirations. So they talk about the change in trends. Koo said that at different times the market needs different things and audiences demand more, but I can tell you that from me, I haven't changed and I don't demand more. If the market has changed and now needs different things, then what about people like me? Why isn't my market catered for? Actually, as I'm mostly disappointed by new films, I end up going back and rewatching the good old stuff anyway, the stuff that I know I like. They keep mentioning some of the classics from Hong Kong cinema, like A Better Tomorrow, and they grew up watching Chow Yun-fat. So why not just make films like that then? Look, understandably, the fantastic director Johnny To was brought up, and he has used Louis Koo in many of his films, and those films are very good. So why not just team up with Johnny To again then, as that formula definitely works. The reason people still talk about these directors like John Woo and Johnny To and these classic films, and indeed the reason they are now classified as classics, is because they are good and because they are timeless and they are still better than most films that have followed since. When these so-called bang bang films, as Koo put it, were mentioned, Louis said they were stale and they needed updating. Now, if that's the case, then why do people still go back and watch the same old ones? Why are these old films still being talked about now, even by you yourself? Because they are better, because people love them and still do to this day, because nothing has come close to topping them. They are the benchmark, and from this talk it appears that the panel know that as well. So just make better ones then, make better films. If you think that they need improving, then go ahead and improve them. Where are these improvements? Where are these brought up to date films that are better than the old ones? I've certainly not seen them yet. Honestly, I ask you, what modern films can you look at and say that later down the line they will be classed as classics? Name them. I might be missing them, so please let me know so I can watch them. The films we watched back in the day were instant classics. We knew they were special at the time. Police Story, A Better Tomorrow, Hard Boiled, The Killer, A Chinese Ghost Story. The list goes on, but the list doesn't grow. Koo goes on to say that in the past 10 years we can see that there are some developments and changes in Hong Kong films, but he wouldn't really call that progress. Well, that we can agree on, because the newer films, in my opinion, have not got better. I was happy with them the way they were, and for me, they don't require updating or progress. Koo also says that young people are important in leading the new trends because they will bring new direction and new vision. So there you go, as expected, he's not bothered about catering for old farts like me. Look, it's simple. I like Hong Kong films, so just make Hong Kong films. Do whatever you like, follow the influence of the market, modernise as much as you want, update as much as you please, but none of it means anything if the film isn't good. Make the film good first, then tick all your other stinking boxes. Now I'm sure Mr. Louis Koo doesn't care what I think, and I'm sure he will never find out anyway. But if he doesn't care, then maybe he should, as people like me have been there from day one. I was watching, and I'm still watching. I am bothered. I do care. These films are part of my life. These films are one of my passions. I hear that there's a new Louis Koo film and I get excited and seek it out. Why? It's because of the quality of the films he's done before. He became reliable, one of the go-to modern Hong Kong actors to follow. It was because of films like Election, Throwdown, Overheard, not because of Warriors of Future, and unfortunately, not because of Vital Sign either. The film they mention, Warriors of Future, Mr. Koo said that when it comes to sci-fi, Hollywood is leading the way, but the first step in trying to make similar films is to actually make one, which he did with Warriors of Future. But I don't want CGI special effects. I don't want Hollywood-style, big-budget, non-real graphs crap. I've seen Warriors of Future. It was on Netflix, so there's the first bad sign. It's not very good. If I want stuff like that, then there's loads of it out there to choose from, but there's not loads of good new Hong Kong films to choose from anymore. A Warriors of Future is a film with Louis Koo, Nick Jung-Gar-Fai, Philip Geung-Ho-Man, and one of my all-time favourites, Sean Lau Ching-Wan. So an absolute best cast, but that makes no difference as they're running around in non-real graphs robot suits. That cast is wasted and replaced with rubbish stuck on PS2 graphs. For years, Hollywood were trying to replicate these so-called low-budget, mindless action Hong Kong flicks, but they couldn't. They have their own expertise, and so do the Hong Kong filmmakers. There's nothing wrong with inspiration and trying to improve, but Hong Kong filmmakers should have more confidence in their own product. For me, Hong Kong films should go back to being Hong Kong films, go back to being themselves, go back to being the innovators, and stop looking at other films as the benchmark, because they did just fine by themselves. Sometimes it can be frustrating when these movie stars become stars. A lot of the time, they tend to forget why they became stars in the first place. Many years ago, even the great Jackie Chan said that he wants to be known for more than just these action films. He wants to be like Robbie De Niro. Well, I want Jackie Chan to be Jackie Chan. That's why I like Jackie Chan. I already have Robbie De Niro films if I want them. Same with Chow Yun-fat. You keep making films in Hong Kong with John Woo, then you will keep making brilliant films. Go to Hollywood and make crap films with Wahlberg, then you will get just that. Crap films with Wahlberg. Now, I don't expect him to do the same thing over and over again. Of course, they want to try new things. That is totally understandable. But don't get all confused when you don't get a positive reaction. Because yes, you may pick up a few new fans along the way, but the consequence is not pleasing your actual core fan base. The people that stick with you no matter what. This is why I really respect Donnie Yen, because he seems to be in touch with what his fans want whilst experimenting and keeping things fresh for himself, keeping himself motivated. It might just be that what he wants just so happens to be what I want as well. But he appears to stay true and genuine, and I can really feel the effort that he puts into his work. So thank you, Donnie Yen, and I appreciate it. Mr. Koo, remember why people are interested in you and your films. In principle, this isn't difficult. You have been in many excellent films, so you know what's what. You have many years of experience. Stop looking at inferior works as a benchmark. Ironically, many of the films you have worked on have set a benchmark of their own. In my opinion, just take a step back and look at some of your own work, your own previous films. They have all the inspiration that you could possibly need. Regardless, thanks. I still look forward to your next project. Nice one. I'll see you later.